How's it going, guys? CotC here. This is going to be something different, more of a candid video, me voicing my thoughts on the upcoming situation for English Octopath CotC. For those of you who are unaware, I'm going to be throwing up the tweet on screen so you guys can see it, but they have announced that upcoming characters could be seeing some differences in stats and skills compared to the Japanese version of Octopath CotC. And this has been announced on the Twitter as well as probably in the in-game notice board. And they have described these upcoming changes as improvements. So I'm assuming that this basically just means buffs to the characters. And we do already have our first example with the upcoming character coming up in tonight's patch. And that is Lionel, who is an Ice Warrior unit. Now, just for a frame of reference, Lionel in the JP version of the game is not regarded as a very strong character. His multi-hits are definitely lacking. He has a 2-hit sword, and he does not have any multi-hits in ice. As far as a nuking roll, he does have a 230 sword nuke and a 230 ice nuke. However, he doesn't have any support skills in order to buff his damage like a character such as Fior. And additionally, he doesn't have a lot of great utility. His utility on his skills is limited to basically a 10% defense down on one of his nukes. I honestly hesitate to even call it a nuke because it has like 140 base power. And he has some defense up on a couple of his other skills. So not great. Definitely not a character that sees a whole lot of use. And so Square Enix saw this opportunity to buff Lionel substantially in the English version. So far, we have only seen 2 of his skills from his character trailer, and those are a 3-hit sword single target with what looks like 3 times 55 potency based on the SP cost, and it also inflicts what I assume is 10% defense down, might be 15%, not 100% sure, but it's definitely some sort of physical defense down. And this is looking to be a very, very powerful skill. And the second skill that they've previewed is a 3-hit ice single target, and based on the SP cost of that, it's looking to be 3 times 65 potency for the base potency. Obviously, both of these are very, very, very powerful moves, and it's definitely pushing Lionel to be a pretty strong character, not only just as a standalone character, but also for the upcoming Varkin Cup. For those of you who have watched my Varkin guide, you guys are probably well aware that that particular fight really wants you to use single target multi-hit abilities in order to play around the Wisp. You want to try to avoid using random target or AoE skills, and the fact that they're just putting 2 3-hit single target moves onto Lionel is definitely it's very, very pushed. Now, moving on to the next thing I want to talk about. Why is Square Enix doing it exactly? So on the tweet, it says that they are doing this as a way to increase the level of enjoyment for the EN player base. That is probably one reason behind why they're doing this. Although I do also see this as a potential to push these characters to be for players to roll for them more. Obviously, when you have a strong character, this is something that incentivizes players to roll for them. And it would have been a really, really bad situation for Lionel. Obviously, players have been saving for some really, really strong characters that they expect to be coming out in the future. Characters like Cyrus, characters like the Nier Automata collab, things like that. And it's actually to the point where characters that would otherwise be considered very, very strong are also just not being rolled for because people are just waiting for these very, very high profile characters like Cyrus. Cyrus obviously being a character that even me myself believed would be coming out on tonight's update. I felt that Cyrus would be the character that they would be releasing tonight. And so I was saying that people should probably be saving up their rubies for Cyrus. Now, if Cyrus was not on the table, a perfect example of a character that I feel like people would probably have rolled a lot for if not for the existence of characters like Cyrus and the expectancy of characters like Cyrus appearing coming up soon. is Cardona. I feel like Cardona is a perfect example of that from pretty much every single aspect. She has great offensive usage with her skills like her 3-hit spear AoE, her 2-hit ice AoE, her 4-hit random target ice. She has unique mechanics that no other character has with her ability to taunt characters besides herself with priority. That's definitely a very unique mechanic. She is, in my opinion, very visually appealing. I think she's a very pretty character. And of course, her voice actress as well. She's voiced by Yui Ishikawa, who voices characters that I know a lot of you guys know and love, such as Violet Evergarden, such as 2B from Nier Automata. That's a character that some of you guys have expressed in both my comment section as well as on Reddit and in Discord discussions that are part of a reason that you would even pull for Cardona. But even with all of these factors put into play, Cyrus is still a factor that makes people avoid rolling for a character that is appealing as Cardona. And so I feel like definitely Square Enix is really pushing very, very hard for these characters that otherwise would have seen like little to no sales to actually see some increase in sales. Now, the real question is whether or not this is actually going to be enough to encourage players to roll more for these characters instead of continuing to save for those high-profile characters like Cyrus, like collaboration characters. And especially with the Bravely collab ending pretty much tonight, it's going to be ending. It should be over by the time, basically over by the time this video goes up. But just because of how much players have spent on the Bravely collab, I don't even know if people have enough to spend on a character like Lionel, even with as good as he is for the Varkin Cup, for just general content as a good warrior with these 3-hit abilities. I don't know if it's going to be enough, to be completely honest. That remains yet to be seen. This is not something that I will personally have access to that information for, like their sales information on how much they are going to be making off of the Lionel banner, off of future banners. That's just not something that I know. So that is just something that we will have to see. Moving on to our next topic. Do I care? Obviously, as a JP player, I do have Lionel, and I would like to have these buffs to Lionel on the JP version, but obviously this is going to be just a different character overall. They're going to have a completely different Lionel in the EN version. And this is not something that I'm particularly too bothered by. I come from a card game background where we have differences between like the Western version and the Asian version all the time. Games like Yu-Gi-Oh!, games like Weiss Schwarz, they have completely different card pools, completely different release schedules, completely different ban lists. This is something that I have been used to for years. This is not something that I am particularly bothered by personally. Now, as far as the channel, this is going to have some effects on the channel. Obviously, since basically any character that they are releasing could potentially have changes compared to the Japanese version, I can't really do any of my preparation for character reviews, character overviews in advance. Even if I know the character is going to be coming out, I don't know necessarily that they're going to have the same stats, that they're going to have the same skills. And so this is going to be affecting the timing of my video releases and when I'm able to actually create these videos, edit these videos, and so we might be seeing some of those character overviews being uploaded the day after the character comes out. Like at the earliest, it's going to be the day after the character comes out. It could be potentially 2 days after the character comes out based on maybe like some scheduling issues with some of the other stuff that I'm doing or things like that. Like I could be busy with things like managing the other YouTube channel that I work on. Just there are a number of other factors that could affect when the videos come up, and hopefully you guys are understanding on those potential issues and potential delays on those videos. The other way that it might affect the video, affect the channel, is actually up to you guys. So obviously I do use like background footage of the character being reviewed, and this is something that is completely up to you guys whether or not you care if I keep using footage of these characters from the Japanese side of the game, even though the character will be different from their English counterparts. So go ahead and let me know down in the comments whether or not this is something that you guys care about and whether or not I should look into maybe using some borrowed footage for future videos. I am 100% I am not going to be making an English account just for the purpose of getting footage for these characters. That would just be completely unreasonable in my eyes. It would be a huge time investment on top of things that I'm already doing. It would have to be very reliant on even just pulling these characters from the gacha in the first place, which is obviously something that's not guaranteed. And so this is something that I don't feel is very reasonable for me to be doing, and I will not be doing it. So those are my overall thoughts on the situation. Go ahead and let me know down in the comments section if you guys have any issues, if you guys have any thoughts on it. Personally, a summary of my thoughts is that I do feel that this is a positive change for EN. It gives EN a lot of possibilities, a lot of opportunities that they would have not otherwise had, using characters that otherwise just would have been left kind of rotting in the back corners of your roster. So I do think that this is a positive change. I do not know whether or not this is going to achieve what Square Enix wants to achieve as far as a monetary gain perspective, assuming that is one of their goals, and I do think that that is one of their goals with these changes. So that pretty much sums up all my thoughts. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this little bit of a different video, just me kind of voicing my thoughts unedited and unscripted. And until next time, this has been CotC, and stay tuned for my upcoming video, which should be up later tonight, which is going to be the second part of my Varkin Cup guide, where I'm going to be going over all the details of the fight, and I will be doing a sample fight for you guys to get a look at how I go through the fight as well. So stay tuned for that. Until next time, this has been CotC. Thanks for watching, everyone. See ya.